Hey guys!
Welcome to my OnlyFans.
Join my OnlyFans.
I want to welcome you to my OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Now, if you haven't heard of it, it's a website where users can get paid by subscribers for content.
OnlyFans is a kind of fusion between social media and webcam sites.
If you Google OnlyFans, you will see porn.
I get like 50 to 100 messages a day from people asking about how they can start their own OnlyFans. They want tips and tricks.
OnlyFans has been facing growing scrutiny recently over its ability to remove illegal and exploitative material.
We found one 17-year-old in the southeast of England had made nearly $5,000 in a week from selling nudes.
A very popular one is like age play, so they like it when the girl sort of like pretends to be younger.
There are children as young as 14 years of age that are then seeing the opportunity to generate income.
I'm Noel Titheridge and I'm an investigative journalist at BBC News.
My name's Rihanna Croxford and I'm a correspondent in the investigations team at BBC News.
So Rihanna and I had been working on a story together.
We decided to investigate OnlyFans because it seemed like week after week we were seeing tons of stories on our feeds about ordinary women, teachers, accountants, students who are making life-changing amounts of money from selling nudes.
8 months ago, I started OnlyFans. It's just changed my life so much.
OnlyFans is a British-based social media site. It allows people to share photos and videos behind a paywall and charge a subscription fee for access. It hosts a range of content from music videos to fitness videos and even cookery videos, but you probably know it because it's best known for pornography.
OnlyFans is a global phenomenon. It's grown massively in the pandemic to more than 130 million subscribers worldwide. I felt like it was a world that really needed exploring.
One thing I will say to begin with, it is really difficult to investigate OnlyFans.
Because the site is designed to have paywalls around each individual creator's content, there are concerns about scrutiny of full content on the site.
And as a result, it's harder to see what's happening behind the scenes. Some of the things that we've investigated have been concerns about underage use of the platform. So we found that children under 18s were selling and appearing in explicit videos in violation of OnlyFans' policies as well as the law.
OnlyFans has age verification processes where you have to sign up with ID to gain access to the account. We showed that those age verification processes could be cheated. We set up an account for a 17-year-old using a 26-year-old's ID.
The proof process, you take a picture of your ID up to your face so they know that you are who you say you are. Like, I literally did not look like my license, and they approved me in the same day.
It's honestly really easy. It's just like managing an Instagram or something.
We spoke to schools, police forces, child protection experts about cases that they were aware of.
One of the agencies that we spoke to is called NCMEC, the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, known as a kind of global clearinghouse reports of child sexual exploitation. Now, they told us that in 2019 they'd had about a dozen cases of reports of missing children being linked to OnlyFans videos. But actually in 2020, those cases tripled. And they said some of these videos were, trafficking, child sexual exploitation, nudity, stripping, but also lots of self-generated material of under 18s basically creating child abuse material themselves.
We wanted to speak to people who had first-hand knowledge of children using the site. Now, this is where it's difficult. Users don't use their real names, and it's illegal for children to post sexually explicit pictures online.
We found one 17-year-old in the southeast of England had made nearly $5,000 in a week from selling nudes and videos of her masturbating with sex toys.
We managed to trace the family home from a selfie taken outside the front door. So we matched the house's fixtures, brickwork, design to the correct housing address using open source intelligence and imaging software.
We were knocking on the door, expecting it to get slammed firmly in our face.
It was actually pouring with hail, but the mum took pity on us. She wanted to tell us about how her daughter had gained access to the site. She said that her daughter had confessed that she had used a fake driving licence to sign up to the account. We also learned that the girl's pictures had been widely leaked across the internet.
We learned that she'd been bullied at school, that she'd previously had naked images of her shared around school without her consent. She'd had a really tough time, and it was almost like selling explicit photos on her terms was a way of gaining back that control she'd lost when nudes had been shared of her without her consent a couple of years before.
I'd learned of content on OnlyFans that clearly broke the site's rules. I then spent weeks trying to persuade staff to tell me about their experiences working on OnlyFans. I interviewed 2 of them. They told me that they'd found prostitution services advertised, bestiality, spy cam footage, and material that one believed to be incest. But I still wanted to know precisely what OnlyFans told its moderators it should do when they come across illegal content. I obtained internal OnlyFans documents described as compliance documents from this year. They revealed that although illegal content itself is removed, OnlyFans lets moderators give multiple warnings to accounts posting illegal content.
I found that rape threats, racial abuse, revenge porn, and even ISIS terror videos had been posted on OnlyFans in the past year without being detected by its moderators. I found cases on social media of people who had complaints, including people who had been subject to revenge porn. Somebody had received lots of rape and death threats. This subscriber had been threatening to kill her and her children. When she reported to OnlyFans, OnlyFans said the rude messages, they called them rude messages, didn't violate its guidelines, and so they wouldn't remove the subscriber's account. This creator then made more than 20 complaints to OnlyFans in a 6-month period, didn't get a response till more than 6 months later.
As with any investigation and our right to reply process, I put my findings to the company and asked for their response. Minutes before we were due to publish, stories were run that OnlyFans was making a dramatic announcement banning pornography on its site.
Last week, the website announced that it would no longer allow sexually explicit content on its platform. Now, that is like telling movie theaters that they can no longer show films.
As that announcement was made, my phone was blowing up from all the creators that I'd spoken to. They were confused, they were bewildered.
There was widespread incredulity at the time that a site best known for hosting pornography was now banning it. Well, in an interview with the Financial Times, the founder, Tim Stokely, he said that OnlyFans had been left with no choice because banks were obstructing the £300 million a month that the site pays out to its creators. But just 6 days later, all the plans were torn up and OnlyFans announced it would continue to host sexually explicit content on its site.
This story was mainly about safeguarding kids, protecting kids, and raising awareness about the platform, particularly how quickly it's grown. And that was both for parents who may never have heard of OnlyFans, but also, and this was quite important to me as well, we wanted to make sure that our reporting humanised the under 18s who had been selling these explicit videos.
This is especially important in areas where there's great change. OnlyFans grew massively during the pandemic, but this was set against successive delays in the UK in introducing new online safety laws. But our investigative reporting was able to provide a genuine insight into underage use and moderation on OnlyFans at a time when sites were effectively being asked to self-regulate.